As usual in PA, it's raining outside, so I figured we would do something with the Corvette that needs to be done, and I didn't really want to do it. It has rattled, and so has the passenger side. And it's upsetting because this car is solid otherwise. And I really want to make it so I don't hear any of that kind of stuff while I'm driving down the road. And especially looking at my driver's side door panel, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but there is a fairly large gap right in here where you can actually see into where the plugs are at right there. And it's because when they pulled the door panel off to do the tint, the plugs were not put back into the little pockets that they need to go into. Instead, the panel was just basically resting on top of some of them, which is giving it kind of an odd gap. And this part right here actually does not line up with this part of the dash. It's down further because this panel is pushed out a little bit. So we're gonna do the driver's side door first, then ultimately move on to the passenger side door because it's going to need done too. First, right there, there is actually a little piece that has to come out, and it looks like that. Once you pop that out, there's actually a 10mm bolt right there that you'll have to take out. And step 2 is going to be removing these 2 screws at the bottom of the door panel. This one is towards the back, and then there's another one along the bottom here towards the front, which is right there. They are a T25 Torx bit. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove this whole little piece right here. It's actually pretty easy. You just put your fingers under here, grab, and you can kind of just pull up at it. And you can also use a trim pry tool in between here to kind of help assist you pop the clips off of this. And then if you turn it over, it will have a little connector right here you can just squeeze and pull out, just so it's out of the way. With that piece off, you can actually look down in here and you can see the little metallic clips for the push button exit right there. And if you can actually stick a trim pry tool back in there, push them, and then just pop this piece off right here. And again, just take the little electrical connector off so that's out of the way. And then if you look back in there, you'll see another 10mm bolt. After we took this off, I noticed right off the bat, if you listen, not to the thunder, of course, but this has a very plasticky rattle possibility to it. So I'm gonna stick some felt tape in here to kind of stiffen this up so it doesn't rattle at all. I'm basically just trying to take care of all my bases at once here because I do not want to ever take these door panels off again. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a tiny little screwdriver here, and I could separate these plastic pieces enough that the actual button will push right out of it. I got the button out. It will come out if you put some pressure right here and right here on this actual bracket outwards. This will slide out. And here's what it looks like afterwards. I put just a little bit of felt tape around the whole thing. That should make it fit a lot more snug. As you can see afterwards, no more movement in there. So that's all GM would have had to do. Now, I can't guarantee this was even rattling at all, but it's just one extra step to make sure that it doesn't rattle in the future. I also went ahead and put some of the felt tape on these little metal clip connectors because they could possibly rattle too. So a little bit of felt tape on those will stop that from happening as well. Now, with this piece that pops off the driver's side door, I'm going to do the same thing on the back with all these metal clips. I'm going to cover them all with felt tape just to make sure that they do not rattle in the future. And now we're gonna just start pulling. These things are no joke. Might have to employ the wedge tool here to really start getting some leverage on this. Then we're just gonna remove these two connectors here. And then that's it. The door panel's free. As you can see, all of the clips came out except for these two right here. Right there and right there. So these are still stuck in the door, which odds are good that's where they were to begin with. And you can hear those could possibly make a rattling noise. So I'm gonna get these out, get them put back in the little pockets in the doors just to ensure that that's not gonna be a problem. Honestly though, I gotta give GM some credit with this. The way that they set up this door panel, it's pretty stout. It doesn't really seem like it would really rattle a whole lot. So I'm gonna go over this with a fine-tooth comb and just find anything that could possibly rattle and cover it up, and then make sure that the panel's put on correctly, and then we should be good to go. I just went around and tightened all these little Phillips head screws that are all through the door panel. There's about maybe 15 of them. And any ones that felt even remotely loose, I just snugged up. Just, you know, as an added measure of insurance here. And then there's only one wire connector I found that makes any noise, and it's this one right here. It's kind of loose. So I'm gonna put some more felt tape in there, maybe cover this whole little wire right here up with felt tape. And then I'm gonna go through every one of these white push connectors, as you can tell, can make a noise. So I'm gonna take them out, put felt tape on the other side, and then slide them back in before we put the door panel back on. What I found with these is that if you actually take two pieces of felt tape on top of each other and then wrap the excess over the edges, that will allow them to slide in there and be perfectly silent. So I'm gonna go through all of these, remove them, and put on that felt tape to prevent any future rattles. And this little one here that was rattling, I just pulled the connector apart, put a tiny little piece of felt tape in between, and pushed them back together. And it's silent now. I'm gonna start down here at the bottom by the speaker. Just make sure everything is lining up as we're putting them in. Top clips put in first. Make sure all those are put in nice and tight. See that one? Not perfectly lined up, so you got to kind of use your finger to get it to go in that hole, and then you can push them in. As you can see, these are fitting way tighter than they were on there before. I can't see in between to see the connectors at all. So it definitely wasn't put on correctly. So we got the panel on. One thing to keep in mind when you're going down and pushing through all these connectors, they're like a multi-stage push connector. So what I mean is basically you push it, you'll hear it clip. You push it a little harder, it clips some more, a little harder, and it clips some more. So literally keep pushing until it doesn't make any more clipping sound. And you'll want to do that through each one of these clips. The panel's on there way tighter than it was when we first started this. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up, put the window control switch in here, and we're gonna see what it looks like once we close that door, if it lines up with the dashboard like it used to. And then finally, we're gonna go ahead and put the two 10mm bolts back in and the two 25 Torx bit screws down at the bottom of the panel. And the final piece to this whole little puzzle, right there. It's gonna pop right in there and finish this whole thing up. So I got both door panels taken off, both door panels reinstalled, and both of them kind of soundproofed. So what I'm gonna do in this video, I'm actually only gonna show you the driver's side, because to do the passenger side as well, this video is gonna be 20+ minutes long and nobody wants that. Instead, what I'm gonna do is just kind of show you the tiny differences there are with the passenger side, because overall the process was the same. I put the felt tape on the same spots on the passenger side as I did the driver's side. There was nothing additional that I did with the passenger side that I didn't do with the driver's side, or vice versa. What I'm gonna do is actually just show you the slight differences here with the passenger side door, and really they are pretty slight. So we'll pop this out. This is obviously a slightly different shape than the driver's side one, but once you pop this out, the 10mm bolt's still back here. There is another 10mm bolt underneath the door panel rest here, which is just like the driver's side. Then there's the two T25 Torx screws at the bottom. And once you get those out, the process of just pulling this stuff off is the same as it was on the driver's side. It's fun, because these clips are really in there. They're really stout. Once you put them back on, you'll realize though, this door panel is not going anywhere. I mean, this feels way more rigid, way more solid. Everything is way tighter than it was whenever I first started this. So for me, this process was a definite necessary thing. If it is for you as well, like I said, the passenger side is pretty much the same as the driver's side, other than, you know, things look slightly different. But ultimately, the bolts are located in the same spot. The clips are located in the same spot. And even the stuff you have to do in the back to future-proof the sound deadening is all in the same spots. But definitely let me know down in the comments if you guys have any questions. I'm always interested in helping. And honestly, if I can help anybody through this tedious process, I absolutely will. So feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions that you don't want to make public. It's horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Like I said, this isn't something I really wanted to do today, but it is something that needed done. And I've needed to do this for probably about a year now. So I should have done this a while ago, but it's really just something I've recently had the time or the desire to want to do, and honestly, I'm glad I did it. The doors sound so much better when opening and closing now. I could turn up the radio and not hear any buzzing, so this definitely worked. If you guys have any rattles in your door panels that you want to take a look at, follow this pretty much to a T, because I really addressed anything that even could possibly rattle. And honestly, if you have that felt tape, you can get it at Walmart. It's really a godsend with this stuff, because you could pretty much put that stuff anywhere you think there is gonna be even remote rattle, and it will take care of it. So anyway, guys, give me a big thumbs up if you liked the video. If you have any questions, shoot them in the comments down below. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.